Hi everybody, welcome to the Cave Woman's first vlog. I have my son Clay with me today. I have three boys. Clay is the youngest and the only one home, so he gets to be on the vlog today. Actually, he and I have talked about this before, and that I wanted him to help me discuss a little bit about something I started on Friday with my vlog on fear and parenting, the fear factor part 1. And I addressed just briefly some of the things that we struggle with as parents, no matter what age our kids are. Clay is my baby, and he's going to be a senior in high school, but I vividly remember when he was small, and he could literally make my stomach drop to the floor with some of the antics he pulled. Do you remember some of those? And so I know what it's like to, not know where a kid is in Walmart, or think that they are lost somewhere in the woods because they haven't come home when we told them to in 3rd grade. So all of those things I've kind of gone through. And honestly, with the events that just happened recently in Aurora, I haven't experienced anything like that. But I know that a lot of parents are talking about the safety of our children, the well-being. And I thought of a few things before I let Clay share a little bit. I thought of the 3 top things I think most of parents have struggled with when it comes to fear. One is sickness. Some of you are going through illnesses with your children, or things medically, and it's horrible to watch your child be sick on any level, but especially with a terminal illness or a long illness that they go through. We worry about our children's health. We worry about their safety, and I think as they get older, especially like this guy's age, we worry about the choices they make. We never talk about choices, do we? And so I think those are things when fear can really creep in. Those are the big 3, at least at our house. Those have been. So the big thing I wanted to ask Clay about is, at this age, and maybe even younger, how he feels when I express fear in front of him. Hopefully you out there do better than I do, and you never act afraid in front of your kids. You never show fear. I'm not that awesome at it, but how do you feel? Can you even remember like a time when you were little and I freaked out over something, or I was afraid over something, or worried about you? Can you think of anything?
Yeah, some things.
To me, like, what kinds of things would you do that would freak me out?
When I was little or now?
How about let's start little.
Crawling on top of a truck when I was a little baby, or when I was,
That was bad.
Climbing trees.
Yeah.
Tree ninjas.
Tree ninjas, that was bad. Trampoline.
Trampoline, yes.
The 10 flips in a row. Those were things that.
Yeah.
Riding your bike down ridiculous inclines without a helmet.
Yep.
Dune buggies. Mini bike, dirt bikes.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah, all those things. What about now? What are some of the things you think I freak out about, or I seem fearful about, that you...
Want to do backflips off stuff?
Yeah, backflips off stuff. Clay has a new thing where he likes to run up on a surface and flip. It's like he's an X-Men, like Wolverine or somebody. It's awful, and I don't like it. So that's one thing I don't really care for right now. But what are some other things? Maybe just not safety issues. What are some things that you think I can kind of freak about, worrying about, that you're doing?
I'm on the computer.
Ooh, on the computer. If any of you have, actually any age now, kids are on the computer pretty young.
Yeah.
You guys weren't. We were a little strict with that, but most of your friends had computer access from what time on?
Yeah.
Pretty young? How old do you think?
10.
10. And I do freak out a little bit on the computer. I'm a little fearful. There's so much out there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, that's something we've dealt with. Anything else? Phone. Who you're talking to, and yeah.
That's
pretty much it. How do you feel when I'm on you or acting fearful about what you're doing? What's the main thing that makes you feel? And I've heard this from you before. I think I know what you're going to say, but what is the bottom line you feel like I what?
Angry, or
angry,
and knowing that I'm not doing anything bad, so I don't know why you're asking.
Do you feel like there's a lack of trust?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And I've heard that not only from you, but from your brothers. The older 2 boys were definitely coming back at me all the time with, Mom, you don't trust me, you don't trust me. And honestly, I know it's the world I don't trust. It's It's the flesh I don't trust, not their spirits. I think you want to do what's right most of the time. I think most of us want good consequences and good outcomes in our life, but there's that struggle and temptation. And I think I, as a parent, feel like that's going to be too strong for them to overcome. And I don't think I trust the world. I want to trust you, but I don't trust the things that are out there to pull my kids. So,
You want to trust me?
what's that?
You want to trust me?
I want to trust you. I do. I want to trust you. That should make you feel. I'm halfway there, right? I
Yeah.
want. Okay, good. Thanks. But I know Clay. Being a senior and leaving, there's that whole just letting go, which I've already done twice. So you think I would be an expert by now? But I may even be a little more freaky with you. I don't know. Clay has a few more hobbies, and you've seen some pictures and past blogs, but he has a motorcycle, and some of you are like, well, yeah, I'd be afraid too if I let my kid have a motorcycle, but he rides with his dad. I think we're safe. We make him take classes. We don't let him be too crazy on that. There are other things he's involved in. He's in sports, so we have that. We have had a broken leg and some different things with sports before, and so I think it's hard. We know things are going to happen. We know things are going to come up. And as I was talking with my husband earlier, and I was thinking about talking with Clay at different times, there's a verse when I'm concerned, and I have to be honest with you, and I don't want to jump on a bandwagon or milk anything or get into the emotional hype, but he went to that midnight showing the other night of Batman, and I remember laying in bed thinking, do I set my alarm for 2 or 3 or whatever to make sure he's back home? I mean, I found myself even worrying that night. How will I know if he's home? Will we fall asleep and not hear him come in? Or, will it be morning and he didn't come home and we didn't know? And so even now, I fight that. And there's a passage that I go back to often in Psalm 139. And if I were smarter, I would go to it all the time and I wouldn't be on Clay so much, maybe.
Nice, you should read it more often.
So we'll read it together and you'll know what to tell me from now on. But Psalm 139, I'm just going to pick out a few key lines. Verse 2 says, you know when I sit and I rise, you perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. This is my very favorite verse. Verse 5, you hem me in behind and before, you have laid your hand upon me. And a lot of times then I'll lay in bed and I'll pray that God will just hem. I think of someone hemming someone in, almost like tucking them in bed, pushing the covers under them. And I think about that, Lord, just hem my children in, hem me in behind and before me. And it says, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. And then it says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Okay, he's seen you from the start. And it says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. That really hit me tonight when I was reading it again before we got on here with you guys. That search me and test me and know my anxious thoughts. And this fear thing that we all struggle with and battle, it all comes down to trust. Just like me being fearful about the choices you're making, it comes back to, do I trust you? Do I trust God for you? And am I anxious? Yeah, fear is anxiousness. And see if there's any offensive way in me. And I thought about that earlier today. I thought it's offensive to not trust God. Now, I don't know if it's offensive to not trust you on occasion, but I can say this, and I've told my boys this, when I know that they're trying to do what God wants them to do, it makes it way easier for me to trust them, right? We've had that conversation. Yes. But when I know Clay's in the Word, or he's hanging out with friends that encourage him spiritually or to make good choices, it makes it easier for me to trust him. And I always need to be trusting God for him. God's done nothing for me not to trust him. I should not be anxious when it comes to what the Lord can do. But I hope that's an encouragement to some of you. Hope it's an encouragement to you too. That
yeah.
And just to remember that Psalm 139. Some of you may want to go to it tonight before you go to bed. You're anxious. Maybe you have a baby. Maybe you are expecting. I had a lot of fear when I was, a lot of questions when my kids were not here yet. Just all kinds of question marks. This age or beyond. Some of you are grandparents, and there's always things that can just tie us up in knots with our kids. But but I just want to encourage you to remember to just go to the Lord with your fear, and also raise your kids to know God, because at the end of the day, if they know God, that alone can take so much anxiety away, just knowing that they're trusting God too. And if we're both trusting God together, there's a lot less fear. Would you agree?
Yes.
Clay, I'd like to thank you for vlogging with me today. My very first vlog is like historic.
Thanks for having me.
Well, yes. Oh, thanks for having. Do you mean just like having you now, or just for giving you life?
That too.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Good. Well, hopefully we'll be back, and Clay may be back even.
Maybe.
We'll see. If the money doesn't run out. No, I'm teasing. I'm not paying him. He's doing this out of, like I said,
Love.
the love. Thanks for stopping by our cave. We just hope you have a blessed week, and we'll look forward to being with you again soon.